Well, let's talk more about what Merck's new pill means for the company, the vaccine makers and Big Pharma. Joining us now is Jeff Meacham, senior pharma analyst at Bank BofA Securities. After today's news, he reiterated his hold rating on the stock with an $80 price target. Jeff, great to have you with us. Why doesn't this move the needle in your view for Merck?
Hi, Melissa. Thanks for having me. So Merck has a fundamentally it's a great company with respect to their oncology business. This is a narrative change, definitely for them. They just did a deal yesterday in the Acceleron acquisition, and molnupiravir, the data today, adds value to their, infectious disease portfolio. But really, it may take a while to really start to move the needle on growth rates and margins.
Are there any other players in your coverage universe who are close to developing the same sort of antiviral pill? And do the results out of Merck, albeit preliminary, are they proof of concept in any way for other drugs in development?
It's a great question. Yeah, there are a number of companies, but they're pretty early to mid-stage. The antibodies, by the way, work extremely well for those that are infected with COVID. So I think that when you combine the totality of all the options available, from things like dexamethasone, which is very simple and generic, to antibodies as well as vaccines and orals like Merck's, I think you're going to start to see more comfort, in the broader community with COVID.
Hey, it's Karen. Thanks for being on. I know you had a bold call in Moderna. So for Pfizer and Moderna, does this materially change the potential additional income from booster shots?
It's a great question, Karen. Yeah, I would say in general, I think the answer is yes. With Moderna, more specifically, there is an assumption that boosters, looking at consensus numbers, that they're taken, for the foreseeable future at a really high dollar level. And so I think as you see new cases roll over, as you see vaccinated individuals receive things like the Merck drug and antibodies, I think there's going to be less enthusiasm for having, regular boosters. And obviously, we had 4 advisory panels recommend against broad boosters. So, my guess is that, you'll start to see, as we get back to normal, you'll start to see, a lot of these companies' COVID assumptions start to roll over and decline. And that's definitely the case for Moderna and to some degree Pfizer.
What's the top pick in your universe, Jeff?
As of now, it's Lilly. They do have a COVID antibody, but looking to next year, though, absolutely going to be a transformational year with potentially Alzheimer's approvals, as well as a new diabetes drug approval.
All right, Jeff, great to speak with you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Yep.
Jeff Meacham, BofA Securities. Tim Seymour, how do you like Jeff's top pick?
Well, I tell you what, interesting story, and clearly a case where I think you've got a valuation argument relative to a couple of these peers that we've just talked about. I think Merck's been kind of caught in a range for a long time, and actually valuation looks interesting. What's interesting about this call here is that Jeff pointed out in his note that there's really no valuation attachment to today's news in anybody's model. So to the extent that there is upside, and obviously the stock tried to determine some of that pricing today. Also interesting that well before this news, we had seen both Moderna and Pfizer fall out of bed. In fact, if you look at Moderna, and obviously it had a big down move today, Regeneron down 5%. Moderna looks like it could challenge this 240 level. And valuation-wise, there's certainly no ability to stop that move. But again, this has been about momentum and about a company that's turned into a world-class biotech company seemingly overnight. That's not actually the case at all. But the stock really is something that I think remains under pressure here. I think Pfizer starts to look overdone.